Welcome in. It's the Second Cup podcast. It's the 4th of July. It is halfway home in Silvis, Illinois. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there, Mark Immelman. Happy 4th, Mark.
Yeah, happy 4th of July to you. Happy birthday, America. I've just got to my hotel room in Davenport, Iowa. Got to think about this because it's Quad Cities, remember. We fly into Moline, which is in Illinois, and then there's something else, and then we've got Davenport, Iowa. There's 4 cities around you. Bettendorf, Iowa. I can't think of the other one. So here we are.
Yeah, somebody asked me, is it outside Chicago? And I'm like, well, it's well outside Chicago. You're basically in Iowa. Yeah.
A lot of my colleagues are driving back to Chicago tomorrow, Sunday nights, to travel out. Frank Nobilo is going over to the UK Monday morning. We all flew in on a flight together now, and I'm traveling out Monday morning. They're going straight to the UK.
According to the chat, East Moline is the 4th city.
Right.
I will take
Silvis, East Moline, where we flew into, Davenport, and Bettendorf. Quad cities. There we go.
There you go. Quad cities. We've got them all covered. Well, we're going to let everybody get out to their barbecues, their fireworks, hopefully safely watching all of those. So we'll keep this rather tight, but golf was played today, Mark, and we must cover it halfway home at the John Deere Classic. And a name is atop the leaderboard. I can't believe this. That has never been atop the leaderboard. Doug Ghim has never led after any round of any tournament on the PGA Tour. He did it yesterday. He's doing it again today because he shot rounds of 62 and 68. That's 12 under par going into the weekend. It has not been a great year for Doug. Hasn't been a great probably 18 months for Doug. He missed the cut at the Canadian Open. He missed the cut at the U.S. Open. He did play better last week at the Rocket Classic. He finished T19, but he has been on top of his game in the Quad Cities.
It has been a lean time for him. I just want to know, first off, before we do the analysis, when you have your biopic taken for PGAtour.com, what possesses you to have it taken in a bucket hat, Doug? If we had Mina close, she could get that graphic up. For the folks who haven't, go check out Doug Ghim and have a look over there. Look, it's a strange sort of a thing because when I watch Doug Ghim play, there we go. Yeah. Now, why would you do that?
It's a tough look. He looks like a thumb in it.
It's like a thumb. This is the movement with the caddies, incidentally. Ted Scott's wearing a hat like that. There are a few guys that are doing that sort of thing. So maybe it's what the cool kids are doing, and I'm not. Okay, so we'll leave it there. The thing about Ghim, because when you watch him play, he's sort of quite reliable. You know, he hits the ball very straight, doesn't miss a lot of targets. He's actually from this area, played golf down in the University of Texas. So you would think maybe he's sort of feeling comfortable in the environment. But that's just some sensational golf. And like you say, sort of out of nowhere a little bit, but he did play solidly last week. But like I said, when we were betting this thing on Tuesday, there's a lot of parallels between this golf course and the Detroit Golf Club because of the surfaces, the way it's playing. It's just a lot more hilly out this way, but it's very much the same temperature. The ball travels. There's low humidity. So maybe I felt like the guys who played well last week, were likely going to do the same thing. But then when I saw some of the footage of the golf course, I'm like, holy cow, this place is as brown as I've ever seen it, which is a turn up for the books. But still, you know, the golf course without rough seems to be a little defenseless right now. So for Doug, continuation of some nice play. You pointed out, now's when they start cashing checks and stuff. And it's not just that he's playing with a lead for the first time Saturday afternoon. It's also now very, very close to the end of the season, and there are not a whole lot of full field events left. So when you have your chance, you got to make the shot. You can't be taking two of you. You just got to make it happen.
Also, I'm glad you pointed out the end of the season because there are a lot of guys who are on some very magical numbers or close to some magic numbers. Doug Ghim started this week at 124 in the FedEx Cup standings. He is currently projected 51st. 50, obviously a magic number. We're going to get to a couple other guys who could also flip their fortunes this year, but that is obviously, Mark, a huge storyline. And some of these guys are not going to have the luxury of playing the Scottish and or playing the Open Championship. You better start making your hay right now.
Yeah, well, now for the guys playing well, it's a big cut now. I tell you what, that cut, I thought I was like I say, I was on the flight with Ian Baker Finch and Frank Nobilo. And we were chatting, thinking, well, when we got on the plane, the cut was 4. Surely it goes to 5. Finchy was like earlier in the day, I thought it was going to be 6.
Yeah.
And it seems to be hanging around at 4. So that's a big deal because you've got to make the cut to have some sort of chance just to earn points and money and stuff over the weekend. But you got this weekend, you've got the ISCO Championship. If you're not in Scotland next week, we've seen some turn-ups for the books there, guys that, have just sort of broken through a little bit. Seamus Power comes to mind and Harry Hall even. So there is an opportunity there. But if you want to find your game, now's the time. You better start making some hay. And I did intend to use that pun, by the way.
You did point out that there is not a lot of defense around this golf course. The Browning is coming through on television. The only thing that has been able to stymie some of these low scores is the afternoon wind. So we've seen this each of the first 2 days. On Thursday, nearly a 2-shot difference from the morning wave to the afternoon wave. And as of right now, with Friday's round closing, it's about a stroke and a half. So that is what really, I agree. We were charging towards 6 under. 5 under seemed absolute like a lock. Now it's almost 60-40 and 40. It almost goes back to -4. So that has been the one thing that has kept this cut line in check.
Yeah. And the truth is, in years past, and I've done this event multiple years now, when it's receptive, which it typically is because you get summertime storms up this way, even if the wind blows, there's not much defense for the golf course. And even if the rough is somewhat thick, with receptive greens, you can chop one out, then still have the ball settle down on the greens. But wind starts to play a real thing when greens are firming up. And like I say, the color of the golf course, it's like, to me, someone forgot to turn on the irrigation. I've never seen it look like this before, but it is dry up here, obviously. So we'll see what tomorrow holds in terms of how the golf course plays over the weekend. If it is more receptive, winds don't have that much of a say-so. But if it's firm, that's when you really will feel the brunt of it.
I want to talk about somebody who's on the podium. I want to talk about somebody who had the round of the day, and I want to talk about the defending champion. The good news is I get to do all of that at once with Davis Thompson, who shot an 8 under 63 round of the day, and it was blemish free. He started on the back 9 and started with a birdie before rattling off a streak of 3 at 14, 15, and 16. He closed strong as well, Mark. And I'll tell you what, Davis Thompson won this event last year, and he has done very little since then. So something about TPC Deere Run has sparked Davis Thompson this week.
It's weird that horses for courses kind of a thing, because you look at a golf course for a Davis Thompson, who's long off the tee and quite accurate. You'd think his game sort of fits anywhere. And I know his coach, Eric, and I know they haven't been doing anything too much untoward or any big changes to the technique. So he's just sort of suffered for some form. But he played well last week, solidly. And then coming back to a place where you've won before, then you're like, okay, this is sweet. And you get to the golf course, all the good memories roll in. When you drive into this golf course, there's this long sort of a driveway that goes between the 9th and the 10th holes. And all the way down there, they've got these like lampposts with former champions posters on there. Mm-hmm. So when you're Davis Thompson, you drive in there and you see your name in lights. And when you come into Quad Cities Airport, you see a picture of you on the wall. That does a lot for the confidence. So you come in here going, well, I know I played pretty solid last week. And man, look at, there's me. And then you start, kind of believing a little bit in yourself, a little bit more even. And took advantage this morning. That's what he kind of had to do. The morning, as you point out, was easier. So horses for courses, comfortable off the tee, knows the lines, reads the greens well. And the way he played and the way he's beginning to play and the feelings I feel like he has around here, he looks like a pretty good pick for Sunday afternoon as far as I'm concerned.
More magic numbers here. Started the week at 70th. That'll get you into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Now currently projected for 56th. So obviously the high finish improving his position, which is also a story for Max Homa Mark, who just put the finishing touches on a round of 68 that is desperately needed from Max. He was great on Thursday. It was a 63. We have seen him at times put together one good round. In fact, that phenomenal 63 he shot yesterday, in terms of strokes gained, it was only the third best round of his year. We have yet to see him really put 54 or 72 together, but Max Homa is desperate for a good finishing position this week.
Yeah, I feel like yesterday's round where he shot in the mid 60s kind of unlocked him a little bit, because he had been saying to people, he goes, it's way better in practice when I'm playing at home than what it is under tournament conditions. And oftentimes when you feel that, you're sort of quietly confident, but you get out and you have a bit of a rough start. The next thing, you're battling not just the scorecard, but you're battling yourself a little bit. And to get out there in round one and do what he did with all those birdies there, and to shoot 65, I believe it was. I can't read the writing there.
63, even better.
Well, forgive me, even better. Yeah. So to do that just sort of lifts the park break a little bit. And this afternoon, I thought he looked very solid. Unfortunate bogey up the last, but the truth is, when he hit the tee shot down there, I'm like, that's going to be next to perfect. The ball just didn't cut enough. So he's looking good. It's just the problem for Max right now is that when he has played well this year, there's been like one poor round. He hasn't put four together. Yeah. So to me, after 2 good days, I feel like not being in the final group of 3 tomorrow, even though he bogeyed the last, maybe a blessing in disguise, because there's a little less focus on you, even if you're climbing up the leaderboard. So maybe you can play freely. So I feel like tomorrow's a pretty big day. Keep yourself close to the lead and give yourself a chance on Sunday. You don't want tomorrow to be the bad round if you have any sort of designs on winning, because then you have to force the issue too much on the final day.
Max Homa's bogey on 18 drops him to 11 under par. It puts him into a 5-way tie for second. That is a perfect segue into my favorite segment, which is called How Far Back is Too Far Back. It's called, Mark, How Far Back is Too Far Back? And let me break down this board for you, because Doug Ghim sits alone at the top at 12 under, a 5-way tie at 11 under par. We've got 5 more names at 10 under par, and there are 19 currently within 4 shots of the lead. So, Mark, I ask you, how far back is too far back?
Well, you're asking a guy who's called 2 winners over here that were way back on Sunday, and then they just went crazy on Sunday and posted scores. I mean, I look back to Lucas Glover, who came from miles back. I look at Sepp Straka, who double bogeyed the last when I had him to post, and that was enough. Davis Thompson was sort of freewheeling a little bit, but he came from behind as well. So just remind me of what the leaderboard is. I don't have it up in front of me.
12 under par for Doug Ghim. Yep. And then you've got a 5-way tie at 11 under. That includes Max Homa, Emiliano Grillo, and others. The 10 unders, I can pull it up for you here, Mark, if it helps. Maybe we can see it this way. The 10 unders are Villegas, Montgomery, Sam Stevens, Siwoo Kim, and Cam Champ. Aldrich Pocketer backing up his victory from last week. He's at 9 under. Some good names here.
The way I see it, Ghim is at 12. So let's say 24 wins outright. You double up what he's just done. Mm-hmm. So 24 less 10, you've got to shoot 14 under over the weekend. That's very doable. I'd almost go as low as guys that are 8 under par and say, look, if you get a little busy tomorrow and then you have another good one on Sunday, you got that chaser's freedom. And the cool thing about this, now tomorrow we're off 2 tees, right, in 3s. But Sunday it should even out, and then you get back to the golf courses it should be played. So you open up in 1, if you had a good drive, you got a wedge. 2, you got a medium iron to a par 5. You can open up 3-3. And then you just got to dodge 3, the par 3. And then if you got a drive in the fairway on 4 and 5, you've got short clubs in there. 6, same deal. 7's a bit of hair raising. 8 is a wedge. 9 is tough. 10's a par 5. The golf course just opens up for you. And all you got to do, and when Sepp Straka won, my memory is failing me a little bit, but I want to say the guy was almost like 9 under par through 12 holes. So it's imminently possible. And when you're there, then all of a sudden you look at the leaderboard and you're close and you're not thinking of the fact that, hold on, I'm 9 under. You're like, I've got a chance to win right now. And then when you play 13, 12's a tough par 3. Then 13's a wedge, 14 you can drive the green, 15's tough, 16's a short club, 17's a reachable 5, 18 you hang on. You could shoot nothing around this joint. We've seen 59s, and so I'm saying, yeah, if you get to 24 wherever you are, and the guys at 8 under par are probably thinking that. The guys at 7, if they get a little frisky in their head, they can think that too. But the reality is, it's always open season here, and no lead is safe.
That's about 20 golfers as of right now that are 8 under or better. One of them that will not be around for the weekend. And Mark, I just want to point this out because it's been a long time since we've said it. Ben Griffin has missed a cut, and it was a 68 after an opening 71. He was inside the number, well within inside the number. He bogeyed 8, his second to last hole of the day. He doubled 9. His final hole of the day to fall outside of the cut line. And whether he likes it or not now, Mark, Ben Griffin's going to get a couple days off.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben. I won $5 off somebody, and you know who you are because you're probably watching that. We have our own little one done league between us for the year, just 2 of us. And I picked Thor Bjornsson, as you know, this week. So I won that. Unfortunate to see him miss the cut, but the reality is when you're running into a major championship, freshness is a big deal. And for a Ben Griffin, going over to Portrush, scouting that place, it's a lot of work. And that golf course will change personality in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's that big a deal to miss the cut. Hey, get a little rest, get yourself over there safely to the United Kingdom, get to Ireland, acclimatize yourself. I'd go early if I was him. Get on the time zone as quickly as you can and get into it, because Ben Griffin is a contender for a major championship. Simple as that.
All right. Well, he's starting the Scottish stretch or the UK stretch. We've got 2 more rounds to go. Mark, you mentioned it. They did move up tee times for tomorrow. So it's going to be threesomes off of split tees because they're expecting some weather to come in the afternoon. That'll create a situation where basically everybody's out on the golf course at the same time. And we will expect to find you. Do we know what your assignment is yet? Or has this thrown a wrench into things?
Well, no, we're going to be off early. I think we're recording to tape. I hate to say that. I shouldn't say that.
You can say that, but for people who are going to complain, it will be available live. If you CBSSports.com, and if you have Paramount, that it'll be there as well. So it's not like your only option is to watch it on tape.
No, you can watch it the regular air times.
Yeah.
No, our crew this week, because Jim and Trevor have got the week off. So in the tower, it's Andrew Catalan and Ian Baker Finch. Finchy is head analyst this week. Frank has got 16. Dottie is on 17 tower. And so it'll be Colton and I on the ground. So no, in terms of assignments right now, we don't know what's going on.
Okay. Well, we will keep our eyes and our ears open, but otherwise it's the 4th of July. Maybe you'll catch some fireworks. They've got concerts the next couple of nights for you, Mark. It should be a great couple of days. Thank you for hopping on. I wanted to make sure we got an episode out tonight. Even if it was a short one, I wanted to make sure we did it.
Yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. I'm going to stay in my room and get room service.
Good for you.
But I'm going to do Zach Brown and Dirks Bentley. Come on now, Weather. Let's play along for the concerts, please.
All right. We will be back on Sunday night to break it all down. For now, that is Mark Immelman. I'm Rick Gehman. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.